afternoon everyone. Welcome back to your biology class. And in my previous class I have started to discuss the different sample question paper. Okay. So for you today again I will discuss sample question paper 1, and from today we will discuss different sample papers so that we can get a clear idea about the different type of questions that can be asked in your final examination. Okay. You have to follow for the exam pattern. From the CBSE they have provided a sample question paper. You have to follow that sample pattern, and questions will be followed from this pattern. Okay, so it will be board pattern. You can easily find it out from the website of CBSE. Clear? Okay, so there you will get different type of 1 mark question, 2 marks question, 3 marks question, 5 marks question, and some of the questions are diagram based. Okay, so these diagram based questions are very important. Any questions, any diagram may come in your examination. Any diagram we can choose and we can provide you different type of question from this diagram, and different type of three questions from the normal flat type of questions can be asked also. So now today onwards I will discuss about different type of questions, and assertion reason type of questions will be asked, so that you can get a clear idea about the different type of questions of your final exam. Okay, so now first I will ask you some MCQ type of question. Try to answer. Okay, try to tell me the answers. First question is, listen carefully and try to tell me the answer. In an experiment, it was found that adenine constitute 31%, guanine 19%. The quantity of cytosine in this DNA is likely to be option A 19%, option B 40%, option C 31%, and option D 69%. So what is in this question? The amount of adenine is 31% and guanine is 19%. So what will be the amount of cytosine? It's a very easy question. What will be the answer? Can you tell me? Okay, let me discuss. As you know that A pairs with T with triple bond, A pairs with T with double bond, and G pairs with C with triple bond. Okay, so if they have provided the amount of A 31%, so the amount of T will be again 31%, right? Because A will pair with T, so the amount will be same. Like that, if guanine is 19% and the amount will be cytosine will be the same, because G pairs with C with triple bonds and it is the 19%. So the answer will be 19%. Okay, so this type of problem may be asked in your examination. So don't forget how to solve this type of questions. So just remember A pairs with T and G pairs with C. If you know the percentage of T, you can easily find out the percentage of A, and if you know the percentage of anyone, if I ask you that is the percentage of A is 30%, then what will be the percentage of C? Then again very easy, you know the percentage of A, then the percentage of T will be again 30%. So the total percentage of A and T is 30 plus 30 60%, and 100 minus 60 is 40%. So the amount of C will be 20% and the amount of G will be 20%. Okay, so if I provide you any information about anyone, you will be easily find out about the percentage of others. Now next question, that is that from the cell cycle different, we can provide you the cell cycle diagram and we can mark it like A, B, C, and we can ask you what are the different portions of A, B, C. Okay, so this type of questions may also be asked. Now Another important question. If the substrate used during respiratory process is a carbohydrate, what will be the RQ value? I am repeating, if the substrate used during respiratory process is a carbohydrate, what will be its RQ value? So RQ value means respiratory quotient. So it is the ratio of carbon dioxide produced to the volume of oxygen consumed during the respiration over a period of time. So the RQ value of the carbohydrate will be volume of the carbon dioxide evolved by volume of oxygen absorbed. Okay, so now you know the formula of the respiration: C6H12O6 plus 6O2 arrow 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus energy. So RQ value will be volume of oxygen carbon dioxide evolved. So 6CO2. So RQ value will be on the upper portion 6 and on the lower portion 6O2. So 6 by 6 is equal to 1. So the RQ value of the carbohydrate in the respiratory process is 1. Okay, you have to show how you have found it. Now these are the 2 marks question. Okay, these types of 2 marks questions may be asked. Next question. I will provide you information, just listen carefully and after that try to tell me the answer. Earlier classification system classified bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperms and angiosperms under plants on the basis of the presence of cell wall. However, in 1969, R.H. Whittaker proposed 5 kingdom classification where he named Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia as the 5 kingdoms. Evaluate the main criteria behind the classification system put forth by R.H. Whittaker. Okay, so first they have mentioned that previously we had different classification system, but after 1969 R.H. Whittaker provided a 5 kingdom classification. What are the different kingdoms? Monera, Protista, Plantae, Fungi and Animalia. Okay, so they have asked on which basis this 5 kingdom classification has been there. Okay, so the main criteria used by R.H. Whittaker for classification of organism into 5 kingdoms include: first one is cell structure, mode of nutrition, reproduction, phylogenetic relationships. Okay, so on the basis of this type of criteria, R.H. Whittaker classified these organisms into 5 kingdoms. Okay. Next question is, what is phyllotaxy, and mention its types and define any 2 types of phyllotaxy. So what is phyllotaxy? You know that phyllotaxy is the arrangement of leaves on the stem or the branch in a plant, and usually it is having 3 types: alternate, opposite and whorled. So and they have asked any 2 types, so you can elaborate any 2 types. So I am discussing about the alternate and whorled. In alternate phyllotaxy, a single leaf arises at each node in an alternate manner. That's why its name is alternate phyllotaxy. And in whorled phyllotaxy, more than 2 leaves arise at a node. Okay, so from a single node, more than 2 leaves will arise in case of whorled phyllotaxy. Next question. If a cell having 32 chromosomes undergoes mitotic division, what will be the chromosome numbers during metaphase? What would be the DNA content during anaphase? I am repeating, if a cell having 32 chromosomes undergoes mitotic divisions, what will be the chromosome numbers during metaphase and what would be the DNA content during anaphase? So in the mitotic cell division, they have provided an information that mitotic cell division occurs in somatic cells or body cells. So the chromosome number in the daughter cells remains same of the parent. So the answer of the first question will be again the 32. That means if a cell having 32 chromosomes undergo mitotic division, the chromosome numbers during metaphase will be 32. Okay, so this is the answer of the first question. Now what is the second question? What would be the DNA content during anaphase? So the DNA content will be double at the synthetic phase or interphase and gets divided at anaphase. Okay, so the DNA content during anaphase will be same as the parent cell. Okay, so first it will get double and after that it will be get divided into the anaphase. So in the anaphase it will be the same as the parent cell. Clear? Now come to the next question. Explain why the spread of living pteridophytes is limited and restricted to narrow geographical regions. I am repeating, explain why the spread of living pteridophytes is limited and restricted to narrow geographical regions. So why? Because the gametophyte or prothallus in pteridophyte requires cool, damp and shady places to grow. Second cause is to facilitate fertilization. Water is required for the transport of the gametes to the male gametes to the female gametes, and the third reason is these plants produce spores which also require water for germination. Thus the requirement of the water or most of their processes restricts their spread. Okay. Now another question is there. This is a 2 marks question, 1 mark for first one and second 1 mark for the second one. Both gymnosperms and angiosperms bear seeds, but why are they classified separately? Both gymnosperms and angiosperms bear seeds, but why are they classified separately? So gymnosperms and angiosperms are classified separately even though they both bear seeds, mainly because of the following reasons. Why? Because ovules in gymnosperms are naked. In angiosperms they are enclosed inside the ovary. And wood is non-porous in gymnosperm, that is vessels are absent in xylem, and wood in angiosperms are porous, that means vessels are present in them. Okay, so this is the answer. Now next question. Interphase is also known as energy phase of a cell. Justify the statement. I am repeating, interphase is also known as the energy phase of a cell. Justify the statement. So how will you justify the statement? Because interphase stage of the cell cycle is also called energy phase because it carries on performing many vital processes or activities to facilitate further cell division. Okay, it is therefore also considered as the most active phase of the cell cycle. And now after that you have to mention the different phases of interphase like G1 phase, S phase and G2 phase, and you have to mention that what are the main steps that are occurring in those phases. Okay. Now next question. Columnar and cuboidal cells bearing cilia on their free surface are called ciliated epithelium. I am repeating, columnar or cuboidal cells bearing cilia on their free surface are called ciliated epithelium. They help in the movement of particles or mucus in a specific direction over the epithelium. The epithelium lies over a basement membrane. The number of cilia varies in different cellular forms. Reconcile the above given facts to explain the function performed by this particular epithelium in 1. Oviduct, 2. Respiratory tract and 3. Nervous system. So that means you have to mention the function of that ciliated epithelium in the oviducts, respiratory tract and nervous system. So what is the function of ciliated epithelium? Ciliated epithelium actually maintains a flow of mucus, liquid and suspended particles or bodies constantly in one direction. So in the oviduct, cilia will help in the movement of egg towards the uterus. And in the respiratory tract, cilia will push the mucus towards the pharynx. and in the nervous system, cilia of the ventricles of the brain and central canal of the spinal cord help in the circulation of the cerebrospinal fluid. Next question. JGA operates juxtaglomerular apparatus operates a multi-hormonal RAAS renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. Explain the role played by renin-angiotensin in this system on the regulation of kidney function. Already we have discussed this part in the theory portion, that RAAS system, RAS or renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. So in this particular question they have asked the function of this renin-angiotensin. You have to write it down in elaborate form, okay, because this is a 3 marks question. Now come to the next question. This is another important part. Most of the chemical reactions do not start automatically due to the presence of an energy barrier of the reactant molecules. Use the concept of activation energy to explain how can a reaction be made to proceed forward and form the required products. I am repeating. Most of the chemical reactions do not start automatically due to the presence of any energy barrier of the reactant molecules. Use the concept of activation energy to explain how can a reaction be made to proceed forward and form the required products. Okay. So what will be the answer? That most reactions cannot start automatically because of the energy barrier of the reactant molecules. In such a case, an external supply of energy is required to the initiation of chemical reaction. So an external energy is required for the initiation of the reaction. Okay. So this energy is considered as activation energy. This energy is considered as activation energy, and it increases the kinetic energy of the system and that the rate of the reaction. So the requirement of activation energy is quite high, hence the enzymes are used in chemical reactions to lower the activation energy. So as you know that if you have checked the different what will happen with the activation energy if enzyme is there or if enzyme is not there, right? So if enzyme is there, it will lower the activation energy. How? Because bringing reactant molecules in close proximity to the active site of enzyme, or forming the unstable transition state structures and establishing weak bonds between reactants and enzyme. So an energy is required for starting a reaction, and this energy is called activation energy, and with the help of the enzyme we can lower the activation energy. And after that you have to draw the diagram which is showing that what will happen to the activation energy with enzyme and without enzyme. This diagram is present in your NCERT. Now next question, that consider statement mitochondria is the powerhouse of a cell. Is this statement true or false? Justify your answer with a valid explanation. So what will be the answer? It's a very easy question, that yes, mitochondria is considered as powerhouse of the cell because they generate ATP, the energy currency of the cell, and ATP is synthesized inside the mitochondria, provides energy for all the cellular activities that can be carried out in our body. Another question is there, since no mitochondria is present in bacterial cells, how do they generate energy for metabolic processes? So the answer is, bacterial cells do not contain mitochondria. In prokaryotes, mesosomes perform the functions associated with the mitochondria in eukaryotes. These structures are considered specializations of bacterial cells membrane that develops as an ingrowth from the plasma. So in case of bacteria, they are not having mitochondria, but they are having mesosome which is playing the same role as mitochondria. Now another important part, that is from the hormonal part, two mechanism of action are there. One is for peptide hormone, another is steroid hormone. These two are very important because different types of diagram based also may come from these two. Okay, so you can mark it that these two are very important for your examination. Now another flat question is there. Describe the C3 cycle of carbon fixation in plants. So you have to elaborate the C3 cycle. Okay. This type of flat questions may also be asked. Next question. Circumstances. Analyze the physiological circumstances that may lead to erythroblastosis fetalis. How will you interpret an electrocardiogram ECG in which time taken in QR is complex is higher? Okay, so here you have to draw the diagram and you have to show the total erythroblastosis fetalis, and next in the next question you have to draw the ECG diagram and you have to mention about the time, duration, all that. Okay. Vishal, this picture based type of question you will get the same as provided by the sample paper which has been provided by the CBSE. So I will suggest you, if you check the class 12 sample paper, then you will get a clear idea about your question paper of your class 11. Clear? Okay, so we have completed one sample paper. So in my next class I will discuss about the second sample paper. Okay, so up to this portion, do you have any doubt? Have you understood what type of questions may be asked? And another type of question, that is assertion reason type of question, already you have done this in the class 10. I think all of you know how to solve this assertion reason type of question. I will help you to solve different type of assertion reason type of question in one of my class. Okay, and from the different questions which I have discussed today, I think you have got a clear idea that not all the time questions will be flat. Okay, so different type of elaborative question, different type of value based type of question, different type of, they may take a sentence and from the sentence they can ask some questions. Okay, these different types of questions may be asked, so you have to read the book very carefully. Okay, if you think that I will read this portion or that portion, just that's it, this part is important, I will read this part. No, you will not be able to answer all the questions. You have to read the book thoroughly. Okay, no notes or nothing. Okay, so just read the books, the whole NCERT books, just follow the NCERT books thoroughly. You will be able to solve all the type of flat question answer or value based type of answer or any type assertion reason or MCQ type. Okay, so if you don't read the book very carefully, then you will not be able to solve all these type of answers. That's why this is my suggestion. So from today you should start to read the book thoroughly. Okay, clear? Any doubt or anything you want me to ask? Anything? Okay, okay. So for today that's it. Thank you and bye bye everyone.